Okay, so I have an interesting thing that happened here. I ended up with 3 tiles of igneous rock here. Hmm, that shouldn't be possible. That's 1960 kilos. That's a whole full tile. My best theory so far as to how this could potentially happen is I reloaded the game while this was mid-cycling. That would have messed with this timer here. The timers don't handle reloads very well, so I'm going to up that to 30 seconds. And I'm going to have to come down here and check in this periodically. I'm also going to dig out that tile right now. I don't want it there. That's unusual. That shouldn't have happened. I can only assume it's the reloads because I have tested this extensively on a debug map where I just ran it for about 100 cycles or so, 100, 200 cycles, and that did not occur. Hmm. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it, but yeah, we'll leave it at that. Also, I've cut off more oil going in here. I'm going to let this run down a bit, and I have to get in there and get at that steel pump. So I'm just going to actually chop away at the sides here. I'll lose a bunch of petroleum. I don't really care. Actually, I'll chop off these 2 tiles and hop in across the top. Though first, I might want to chop this down quite a bit. I'm going to chop this down to like 1 kilo, just to stop a whole bunch of petroleum leaking out while I'm doing this. Uh, and as you can see there, we are chock full of petroleum through the system, and this here is our buffer system. That'll just one little pipe stripe here. This means that all the excess petroleum is dumped over there. Another thing I forgot to mention was, yeah, the reason this is a vacuum tunnel the whole way along. I mean, theoretically, I could have put in a liquid lock here and a liquid lock here, and then leave the rest gassed or pressurized. However, if a duplicant is called to lunch while they're in the middle of a liquid lock, they will drop whatever they're carrying. So just say a duplicant was passing through this liquid lock here, called to lunch, and then they drop all the magma they're carrying. 800,000 kilos of magma dropped right in the middle of a liquid lock. That won't be a liquid lock for much longer, it will be a gas lock, and then that gas lock will spread out and infect everywhere. So if they were to say have a liquid lock down here and they damage that one, the gas would touch this magma, that gas would get superheated, and next thing you know, you've got a whole cooked monstrosity going on. So when you're dealing with magma, you need to be like you could get away with liquid locks, but you'd really want to keep an eye on them while they're doing it. And if you want to make it fully automated, you basically just don't want a liquid lock at all. That's the only way you can fully automate it and not worry about it anymore. Now, I've also increased the size of this tank just a smidge. I wanted a little bit more space in here. A couple other things. Made a little bit of a modification to the Pacu tank here. I put these doors up here so that the Pacu fish can't magically levitate. It seems Pacu can't climb. Someday someone's going to learn how to crossbreed a Pacu with a shovel. We'll have a pack vole, whatever, and they'll be able to dig through bricks, at which point they will kill us all. There's no stopping them from getting into your algae supply at that point, except for solid metal tiles. Now, I've also finished up this little steam vent chamber over here. Now, pretty straightforward. I just cut in through the top here. I took out that tile, and got down there. I didn't even take out the debris. I was in that much of a rush. Uh, and that's it. This liquid goes around here. It cools this, it cools the steam turbine itself, so the steam turbine doesn't overheat. We've got a nice chilly ice box in here, and that keeps the steam vent cool. Actually, it's just fired up now. So as you can see, it's literally turning into a vacuum the moment it hits the temperature shift plates. And the water here is at 95 degrees, and you'll see this door is engaged here, dumping the chill in. So every time the temperature here goes above 95, this dumps in more chill, and 95 degrees is all we need at. This water is going to come out boiling hot, but we don't need it very cool. That's the thing, we're only going to dump it into oil wells and our self-powered oxygen makers. That's all we're going to use this for anyway. So it doesn't really matter if it's 95 degrees. It's all got static output temperatures, all the machines we're going to use it for. Now, another thing I did was I extended this transport tube network up here. All I did was I'm running a power spine right up the middle. Well, as close to straight up the middle as I can. I had to take a right here. But yeah, I just run a power spine right up the middle. And then every few floors, I stick in one of these transit tube and then I just plug it directly into the power spine. So it just goes up every couple of floors. I throw in one of those, and all the way up and up we go, all the way to just about parallel with this cool steam vent, which is I'm going to take care of that off screen. It's the exact same build as the one we just covered, so there's no point doing it a second time for you guys to watch. Now, down here I have found a leaky oil fissure. Yeah, these things are kind of useless. It's 361 grams a second. Or to put it in different terms, it's 1/10 of an oil well. that doesn't require operation though. So I could tap into this. I don't really think it's worth it, but if anyone wants me to see me throw together a build for this, it shouldn't be that hard. All I got to do is drain off the heat, and then I can just pump it down to the oil biome. Personally, I don't see a use, but if you want, just throw in a comment that you'd like to see it done, or just like someone else's comment. I'll just add them up, and if there's enough people, I'll give it a shot. Next up, I do want to tame that cool steam vent, but I also want to sort out my polluted water a bit. I've got my nice tank here, but it's pretty much full to the brim, and I want to start sieving this polluted water and turning it into clean water. I am going to have to automate that at some point, so I have to stop worrying about it. Currently, I just have the overflow being dumped into these. So what I want to do is, if I don't have, say, this much clean water, I'll throw an automation hydrosensor right here. So if I don't have this much clean water, I want to actually sieve the polluted water and start dumping it in here to help with my clean water issues. To do that, I'm going to have to sieve it, and this is where I'm going to put my 2 sieves. You don't really need more than 2 sieves in the entire game. In fact, you can get by with 1 in most instances, depending on how your water supply shook out. So I'll just hook up the second sieve. Do we have power for that? Yep, power is already connected. And then we'll just plumb that into everything else. Insulated liquid pipe, this rock. Now, both of those can do 5 kilos apiece. Actually, I never put any compost down here. I'll just throw in a couple of compost to take care of it. Actually, I'm going to put down 4. Yeah, might be a better idea. So I'll put down 4 composts. So this is going to save my polluted water. That's already hooked up. You can see it's passing through already. So now what I'm going to want to do is break off a line to go down to my clean water tank. Okay, that's gas. Never mind. Yeah. So by pulling it off this way, I'm going to be claiming all the water. As in, if my tank needs it, I'm going to be pulling it off directly. I don't care about this over here. This water tank here that feeds my base, this can go for a couple of 100 cycles without a top up. So I'm fine on that front. Actually no, I need to take that out of insulated pipe. It's only 40 degrees, but I don't want to be cooking everywhere all at once. Now we're going to want to bring it down to here. You can come down, go across, and then we'll hook you into this section. I just leave a bit of a bridge, so I'm probably going to be just deconstructing some stuff around here at some point. Okay, so that all feeds into that drain, and that will dump liquid in there. Oh, I'm going to need a liquid shut-off, aren't I? You know what? We will deconstruct that piece there, and I'll stick in a liquid shut-off right here. Input pipe, output pipe, automation, and power will be the final step. Actually, yeah, I'm going to pretend that was on purpose, that I built it right through that. That was perfect. Now, if the water in here is, say, below 500 kilos, you are going to turn that on and start sieving the polluted water so we have somewhere to dump it. Well, not somewhere to dump it, to keep the tank topped up. That way we should never run out of clean water. If we have polluted water, we'll always have clean water. Also, if we check out the polluted water down here, you'll notice it's starting to get really chilly on this side. That's because the water being dumped in here is coming from the power plant, and the power plant kicks out pretty cold water. It's about 10 degrees in place. What's that? Yeah, 9 degrees. So it's pretty chilly coming out of there. So that's chilling down our whole polluted water tank. I might actually, what I'm going to end up doing is running a cooling loop from the bottom here through to the top. Just one of those closed loop systems with some radiant pipes in it. And I'm going to spread the chill from down here to up there, because this water in here is going to start getting hotter and hotter as I dump in more and more cool steam vents. And that's pretty much it. We've automated the disposal of polluted water completely. The polluted water will either be used to top up the water tank, and if there's even more than it needs, it will be dumped in here into the reed fiber. Problem solved. Actually, I should probably finish hooking up the problem before I say problem solved. Okay, now the problem is solved. Well, it will be once that's built. Okay, right now I'm chopping over through to here. I want to tame this steam vent. Once I've got the 2 steam vents tamed, then all that's left is to tap into the oil wells. Once I've tapped into the oil wells, actually I might do the slicksters first. It might be faster to set up the slicksters. So yeah, steam vents, then probably the slicksters, then the oil wells. And at that point, we'll have pretty much 90% of all the sustainable stuff up and running. We'll be at complete sustainability, at which point we can go on to actually tackling space. Taking care of space should be an awful lot simpler at that point. Okay, back to you once I've got this pretty much hammered out. So we're about to cut in here and gain access to all of this. Yeah, this thing is still venting. It would explain why this whole area up here is so hot and why the top of my base is still kind of toasty. But yeah, I'll just seal this in and run through this build really quickly. It's identical to the last one. So yeah, as you can see, pretty much the same as before. Steam turbine up here to cool it. I just left a little gap here so that my duplicates could get in and out and do the job. Once they finish putting in the enormous amount of temperature shift plates, I'm pretty sure that's way too many, but it works and I don't want to have to redesign anything. Once you've built it once and you know it works for every variant, why bother redesigning it? So as you can see here, all I have to do is put in a block of insulated tiles here to seal this off once I've actually topped everything up with water. For water, I'm just going to use the liquids that's down here. It's 70 degrees already, but who cares? All I have to do is run that plumbing up here. And I've connected to a pipe up here, which is just going to drop down here. And, ooh, I better close in that side so that the water doesn't drop out. Deconstruct buildings. So I'll deconstruct these two ladder segments, wall it in, and then I'll fill in this whole place with, well, with water. I'll also use that same water to run the, put these here. I'll also use the same water to stick into the aquatuner cooling loop. This time I actually hooked up the automation first. So we'll just set that to if the temperature in the pipe is above 30, it'll cool it by 14 degrees and spit it out at 16. So I don't need anything super cool here. I mean, this cool steam vent, we need to get it down to 95 degrees, so a 30-degree icebox is more than sufficient. Okay, I'll skip forward in time a bit now as well. Now, if you're trying to build one of these yourself, this is probably the easiest way to go about it. I've basically just have not put in that tile there and there. The duplicants can then walk in here and go all the way through and pick up debris, build whatever they want, make sure that we've got the power in, make sure that we've got the automation in. That's hooked up, that's hooked up, that's hooked up, they're all done. So you can get all your stuff built by just building it this way. Done, dusted. Then what you do is you just, I put a liquid vent. Yeah, I put a liquid vent there and I just dropped water in here to fill up this. And if you don't want to fill up that, that's fine. That was just a happy byproduct. I had so much clean water close by, I did that. But you can seal this off here and then fill up this area and then fill up your steam area as well. This will help force out all the gases, and the only vacuum you have to make is the one in here, which is all controlled by this hydro sensor. Well, when the time comes. I'm not going to turn it on just yet. I have to actually seal this up. At the moment, all I'm waiting on is some duplicants to come along and clean this up. But this is a perfect example to point out why some people were suggesting I should put a lot of low priority dig commands out. I don't like to put those out all the time. The reason for that is at the moment I'm waiting on them to finish all these dig commands. Well, they've just finished these over here. Until they were finished all of those dig commands, they're not going to bother with the sweep. Their priorities are all set to dig mostly. So the only people who are going to look at this are the dogs' bodies, and they're flat out doing all sorts of other chores already. So I have to wait until they've finished all the construction commands, and when they're done, they'll sweep this out. Once it's swept, I'll seal it up and actually fire the design up. Now, one thing, you're going to find this extremely weird on my part, but I didn't hook this up to this power grid. This big power spine I'm running down the center of the map, I could have built off a transformer, hooked it up. I just don't like leaving transformers around the place. They give off heat, and over time they'll just become a problem. It'll take a few hundred cycles, but I'm patient. I don't mind if it's going to take a few hundred cycles. I'm still going to be annoyed by that. So what I've done is I've ran a power cable from right back. Wait a minute. Where are we? Where are we? It takes a left in right in a minute. Here we go. And I just ran it back here to the little plug socket I built earlier. So that's why I build these plug sockets. And as well as that, you don't really care about the material cost. When you have an industrial brick up and running and you can churn out metals like on demand, the cost of running these power spines, running long power cables, it's really nothing. At this point, I mean, I wouldn't even think about using wire. I don't use wire for anything anymore. Even if it wasn't going to carry 2 kilowatts, I'd still use if it was only going to use less than 1 kilowatt, I still wouldn't use wire. I'd still use conductive wire. The reason being, conductive wire costs 25 raw metal. Regular wire costs 25 raw metal, and conductive wire costs 25 refined metal. So yeah, I can refine things for effectively free, so I don't care. I'm swimming in power, refine metals, just you can build with all the tools you have available to you. Okay, so I'm just going to seal this sucker up once they finished taking out all this junk, and then once it's sealed up, oh, actually I missed a piece. And once it's sealed up, I'll fire it up. Back to you in 2 minutes there. Ooh, I almost forgot to put in the actual liquid output for that pump. That would have been silly. Back to you in a sec. Now I found another neural vacillator here. So I stuck Dig Dug in again because Dig Dug has been in once already, and there's 4 possible buffs they can get. So what I like to do is just let's see, Rock Crusher plus 10 strength. What I like to do is try and get deeper divers lung. It's about the only one that's really long-term useful. Plus 10 strength is actually quite handy. It means they can carry more stuff. About, I think it's 20 kilos, so it's about, is it 200 kilos for that? It's either 20 or 40 kilos per point of strength. So it's pretty handy, but I would prefer to get deeper diver's lung. It reduces their oxygen consumption by half. Well, it goes from 100 grams a second to 50 grams a second, which makes my life an awful lot easier. It just means I consume less water. So you're going to get neural vacillator recharges from space. There's a limited number. They're basically predefined. I don't have access to the star map yet, but if I looked at the star map, there'd be X amount of planets, and then whether or not I get one from a planet is already predetermined. It doesn't matter if you send one research module, it doesn't matter if you send 5, it's already predetermined. You're going to get what you're going to get. It doesn't matter how long it takes or how many research modules you send it each time. Each planet's only got X amount. And what I would do was just line up my dupes one at a time, and I'd keep feeding them into the machines as the recharge comes in until one of them until it got Deeper's Diver's Lung or didn't. And then I'd keep going through all of them trying to get them Diver's Lung. Once they get Diver's Lung, though, I never send them back to the neural vacillator again. So if they get it first time, they're done. If they get it on the 4th time, then they're done, whichever's first. Almost ready to fire this up. Well, unfortunately, while I was hanging around doing all of this, the steam vent went into dormancy. Yeah. But anyway, it is there and ready to go. I've turned off this gas pump, so that's a complete vacuum in there now. This is set to 900, this is set to 95, and this will just keep churning out steam for the rest of the game. Well, clean water for me for the rest of the game. For the piping, I basically just ran insulated igneous rock because this is a very, 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 actually let's just pause it so it's faster, very, 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 very long run all the way back to the clean water tank. Now what I've done there is, this is sieved clean water that's helping top up the tank. So I've put that up there and it's on a, this is bridging on, so it has, it doesn't have priority flow. This means any clean water coming from this direction, steam vent water basically, is going to have priority and will hold off on dumping any and sieving any polluted water. I also overfilled that to pieces like I normally do. So I'm going to have to actually find a way to get that crude oil out of there. So I've already placed a paste for a pump. Yeah, so I'm going to have to just run a pump and a liquid filter to get rid of that. In fact, that might be a good thing to show because this does happen occasionally where, well, you just mess up. Now, I'm going to put that there. Liquid pipe. We're going to filter out the crude oil. Actually, where am I going to send the crude oil? Actually, I'll worry about that in a minute. And that can go up there, and we'll just bridge that onto this pipe, so it'll go out the drain. A little power. What do I have in that pipe, on that cable? Almost nothing. Perfect. I actually have honestly no idea where that cable goes. I'm assuming back to my plug socket somewhere. Now, the crude oil, I am going to have to filter it and dump back in the oil biome. And I'm pretty sure my oil biome is a complete mess in terms of piping. Go across there. Yep, that's a lot of piping I got around the place. I'm going to have to go around and do a clean out and remove all the old redundant piping. There's a bunch of old stuff here that I didn't remove. What is that bottom pipe? Bottom pipe is dead. Yep, that can go. Radio. Don't want to go through the abyssalite. Actually, I think there will be fine. Yeah, it'll end up down in the oil biome one way or the other. So, you are going to filter for crude oil. And that will very, very slowly filter out the crude oil. The rest of the liquid will go up here. It'll eventually get in that. That's actually hot water coming from the steam vent on the opposite side. Okay, why is that no longer? Oh no, yeah, it's backed up. Okay, until that pipe completes. But this will basically allow me to drain that nasty crude oil out of my tank. It's an annoyance, but yeah, if you're me, it's going to happen eventually. This area in here, the reason I gave it a liquid lock is I'm going to vacuum this out. This has a tendency to get warm, so I like to keep all heat sources sealed up. By the time I hit space, I want to have it so that anything that generates heat, be it a battery, a transformer, I don't care, whatever it is, yeah, I'm going to have it have its heat taken care of in some way. Now, I'm going to get rid of all of you. And I'm just going to dump this all out here. High pressure gas vents are just amazing. If it wasn't for high pressure gas vents, I don't know how I'd play this game. Dope. Okay, that'll vacuum all out all of that, and hopefully, actually, it will make a difference if the water gets up to there. As you can see, that crude oil is slowly, but surely being filtered out. I'll just have to remember to come back here and turn this off when the time comes. So I'll probably leave that running for a few hundred cycles. Oh, speaking of something I left running for way too long, it was this gas pump down here. If you'll notice, this place that used to be all carbon dioxide and chlorine, well, most of the chlorine is now stuck in these two gas reservoirs. There's a few patches over here, and we've sucked all the chlorine out of this area. Also, I stuck in a few deodorizers just to clean out the oxygen. So we basically managed to get rid of all of that. I like to do this because it cleans up everything, and now it's actually a little bit easier to build down here. You don't have to worry about too many nasty gases getting filled in. Actually, I will turn this on for a while again. Now, CO2 or the chlorine goes in here, the carbon dioxide gets dumped into the oil biome, and the leftover gases, whatever they are, get dumped up here right beside a deodorizer. If there's some hydrogen, the hydrogen will eventually float up to the top of the map. Oh, and there's way too much water floating around here. You know what? Let's mop this whole area. Get rid of a lot of it. Oh, missed a spot. And my Pacu, the magical mystical Pacu fish. As you can see, the population has gotten ridiculously out of control. Now, I'm going to stop this now because this just starts to get a little bit mental. You could eventually just start feeding your duplicants on raw meat. You'd be producing that much of it. The fish die every 25 cycles, so well, they replace themselves every 25 cycles. So I think I worked out it's about 12 and a half wild Pacu or wild tamed. It doesn't matter if you've got them in a tank like this. You don't have to feed them. They'll lay an egg before they die of starvation anyway. So I think it's 12 and a half Pacu will give you enough meat to make barbecue for one duplicant. Also, they give you a whole lot of eggshells. Their eggshells are twice as heavy as everyone else. And since it's so easy to just farm them, well, okay, relatively easy to farm them this way, and they reproduce so rapidly, you can just throw down so many of these. Definitely something you should invest into. If you don't mind it. I find it a bit exploitative, and this is the first time I've really done it. You could probably tell by how awkwardly I did it, but I kind of think this takes some of the challenge out of the game, so I try to avoid doing it. I normally just go with shovels. In fact, we'll go with them at the end as well. Anyway, next. Okay, this is a quick cut in from Future Francis here. I was editing this footage together, and I'm apparently missing the bit where I remove these tiles and go in and repair the steel pump. I would like to say I lost the footage, but I think I just didn't hit the record button when I was doing it. I think I hit F10 instead of F9. Apologies. But the repair procedure was actually relatively painless. I just took out this tile here and I took out this tile here after I drained the petroleum down to about this level. This unfortunately did result in a bunch of petroleum ending up down here. That's about 200 kilos deep, that big layer of petroleum. So I did lose some petroleum while doing it. But it was actually relatively painless and not really as bad as I thought it was going to be. Anyway, apologies I missed the footage. I know some of you like to actually see how I fix every problem, but this one was actually not that bad. Just chop out those two tiles after I'd reduced the petroleum level in here, hop in, do the repair. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled viewing. I've been letting the oil level in here drop because I want to start tapping into these oil reservoirs right about now. I've got both steam vents tapped. I've got my polluted water cycling through and it'll sieve automatically into clean water if I need it. So I've got all the water sources I've seen on the map so far tapped into and ready to go. So now's the time to hook these two suckers up. Now they're in an awkward position. They're right trapped in close beside my oil boiler. I probably won't be able to use my standard design, so I'm going to have to come up with something a little different. So I'm going to go off and have a little think about this. Maybe rough out a few things in ghost mode, and then yeah, we'll have a hammer at getting both of these, probably both of them actually combined together, up and running. But just before we do that, we have an awkward problem. That mm, that little chunk of liquid right there, it's caused a backup issue. There's basically carbon dioxide here, then liquid, then more carbon dioxide. So this liquid here is actually backing up. That's going to start causing me problems really quickly. Now, I think my dupe should be able to deconstruct this at an angle. So if my dupe deconstructs that, that liquid should fall down here. And then that'll release the gas pressure. Come on. Oh, okay. Much better. Now can the dupe actually build it at an angle is the other thing. I could theoretically actually get away with leaving that out altogether. I'd rather not, but yeah, you know what? I am going to have to go away with leaving that out. If I deconstruct that block to install it, nope, never mind, dupe's coming along. If I deconstructed that block to install it, I'd be left with the exact same problem again anyway. Okay, now we're back to normal. Oh, whew. You're set to, if the pressure is above, actually we want to make that, what's these tiles go up to? 739. So we'll make it, say, 700. Okay, and that should all clear out now. There was actually quite a big backlog of petroleum that had built up while I'd been doing that. I'll also have to find a way to skim this petroleum off the top. I don't want that petroleum in there, and I'm probably going to take all the other crude oil sources that are around the map, and I'm probably going to dump them into one centralized tank, which I'll then feed in here as well. I could take all of this and use it as an emergency backup storage. That actually might be the smart plan. I might actually leave this tank as emergency backup just in case something goes wrong with the oil reservoirs. But the rest of the oil around the map, this all needs to go. It's just clogging up space. Plus I want to dig all of this out and get access to the fossil. And I can't really do that with the oil on top because if there's any abyssalite down there that's too hot, the moment they get the fossil and the oil touches it, there will be horrible sour gas problems. And as you can notice here, the sour gas up here has been effectively deleted. This used to be down to about here in sour gas, and this high pressure vent has actually killed it all. Ooh, ooh. Why is everything so pressurized in here? We're up to 16, 17 kilos. That's bad. Okay, we're going to have to take a rain check on the oil reservoirs, and we're going to have to start ranching slicksters. Pretty darn tootin' fast. Oh, yeah. Time for me to stick on my thinking cap. All right, I had a quick break there. I had a bit of a think. Now, throwing down a ton of slicksters there is not going to make too much of a difference. I don't have enough population. It'll take me too long to grind them up. I should have got into slicksters a long time ago. The reason this gas vent is overpressurizing is the sour gas in here is what's being compressed up by the carbon dioxide. I've actually got about 3 kilos of spare pressure to go in here, but it has gotten pretty bad. I'm going to need to make some changes to make sure that that doesn't overpressurize. Now, one thing I could do is I could let it overpressurize in here. I'm pretty sure petroleum generators will still, actually don't pause for a second. They can still kick out carbon dioxide even if the pressure in here goes above whatever. They don't really seem to care, but that would be that just feels like a dirty solution. What I do want to do though is I have a few options. One, masses of slicksters, of course. Two, actually put in carbon skimmers, but that'll just cost power, which will produce more carbon. But you know, I've got the energy to spare. This is basically my battery bank over here. However, the other option is dump it into space, which is I'm probably going to end up doing that at some point anyway. So I might want to start getting around to getting up into space. So we're going straight up. Now I should be able to get pretty high up there. Game's thinking about it. Now, yeah, I think I'm going to try implementing multiple solutions at the same time. So I'm going to get that going up into space so I can actually have a chance there. Oh, I should finish this ladder. My duplicates can't get down there. Oops. So I'm still going to put in the slickster farms, and I'm going to make them pretty large. But if I had been planning ahead, I should have done this a long time ago. Long time ago. Now, this is going to be my scaffold ladders here, and I'm going to dismantle all of these. Rid of all these junk. I'm not exactly sure how long I'm going to make these yet. But let's just go with very long. And where's the last one here? Now for these ones I'm going to have to use mesh tiles as the floor. Reason being the slicksters will spit out liquid, so I need some way of disposing of it. What are we going with, iron ore or gold? Actually, I've still got way too much gold over iron ore. Doesn't really make a difference. It shouldn't get too hot in the oil biome unless I make a huge mistake. Actually, we'll cancel that. The roof doesn't have to be made of it. And I shouldn't be deleting those. Maybe I didn't have enough of a break. Yeah, when I say I took a break, I actually, the sun came out. In Ireland, that's very rare, so I took a shameless advantage of it. This is actually about a couple of days later, I think I'm doing this. Yeah, so I had a couple of days to think about this, boil this on the back of my brain to come up with an idea to how to solve this one. I'm going to try and not make the same mistake I did when I was doing the petroleum boiler, where I got tunnel visioned trying to remove that CO2. That video has gone up since. Yes, several people pointed out I could have just overwritten that block. It would have made things so much simpler. Now, yeah, down here as well. Oh, I'm gonna have to measure out these rooms as well. I need to put down. I want to put down an incubator for each hatchery in this place, or for each ranch. I'm gonna want an incubator down just to speed things along. Also, it simplifies things quite a bit. And we do have the spare power to do it now. Even if we get high power draw during, say, all of them are drawing at the same time, I should be able to run 5 of them off 1 2 kilowatt wire, and that'll be the problem solved. So I'll probably put, say, 3 hatcheries here, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. That will give me 3 hatcheries or 3 Slickster farms, and then if I have to put, I'm gonna have to put in 2 more. Normally I would have put them on the opposite side of the over here, but yeah, the petroleum boiler takes up a lot of space. So yeah, actually, that's happened again. How has that happened again? Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to start watching this next time this cycles out. How much have we got here? 553. Maybe it's the ladder chunks. Maybe I have to delete some of the ladder segments. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna put this back to 20 seconds. I'll make that a high priority. This did not happen in torture testing. Anyway, back to the problem at hand. Now, while they're doing that, we got duplicates up the top. Yeah, we got duplicates up the top doing the ladder, and these duplicates are taking their time. I also might want to get the transport network going down this far. It is a little bit of a journey for them. Transit tubes. Okay, you're in the way. You gotta go. Oh, also, was one other thing I noticed when I was looking around. Yeah, I've done a loop-to-loop. The CO2 is coming out here, going around in a circle, and then going back in this direction. So I need to delete that and put in a bridge to provide flow. Yeah. Oh, as for the Pacu farm, I haven't actually demolished that yet. I was going to do it, and then I was like, I know it's an abomination, right? And I know it needs to be destroyed. It's basically generating me free amounts of Pacu. But I'm kind of curious at the same time about how far this abomination can be taken. That's sort of my curiosity right here. I have no idea how many fish are in there or how many I will end up with. I kind of just want to let it eat through all my algae and then see how many fish are left over at the end of it all. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Oh, we can delete that too. Yeah, there's a lot of things I need to delete around this map. Now, do we need another transport tube? No, we don't need another transport tube there, but I'm going to have to get this through there. Ooh, cool, you can overwrite those. Actually, someone was telling me in the comments I could overwrite igneous rock with another type. I didn't think you could overwrite tiles. So let's switch that to granite. Oh. It used to be you could only overwrite tiles with tiles of a different type. So you could overwrite an insulated tile with a regular tile. But changing the material didn't matter. If you had an insulated igneous rock tile, you couldn't overwrite it with an igneous an insulated tile of any other material type. You could only overwrite different tile types. That's kind of nice. That's a nice quality of life improvement. Now, deconstruct this junk. And have we got all the oil? Ooh. Yep. Did I get all the oil out of here? Yes, we did. And I didn't leave this on for an eternity. Okay, we can deconstruct you, and liquid filter, we can deconstruct you. That means I can get rid of this down here. And then what I can do is I can just run the transport tube down here and probably have an exit around this point. You know what? Just delete that of it. I'll rebuild it from scratch. Slicksters can stay there. You know what? I'll just have the one down here. No need to get fancy. I'm also going to need to run power down here to run this. Let's see what the plug socket's doing. Oop. Game didn't like when I did that. Yeah, we'll go use this. What are we using? Iron. Yeah, grand. Oop. Now, I actually want to check how many plugs do I have left on that socket. Actually got 2 there, 3. I've only got 3, and all of them are on the opposite side. I can do a little bit of rewiring to get access to some of them a little bit easier, but yeah, 3 more. Yeah, that should cover most of my needs down here. Ooh, and I'm going to use gold down here for the overheat temperature. Hells yeah. Okay, so now that I've had multiple projects going all at the same time. Ooh, fortunately those actually, I don't need those anymore, do I? That was for mopping up the petroleum. Ooh, which reminds me I should start on that. I disconnected the pipes that were bringing in petroleum here. I didn't want them flooding the place again. So I better hook one of them up at least. Yeah, I didn't want them flooding in the place again and tripping my sensor. Also, I want to actually, well, I want to build in these oil wells, so I didn't want the whole place full. Okay, that's everyone there done. I just need to do this section here. I think we're going to put the incubators at the front. I was thinking about putting them at the back, but say I'll put the incubators at the front door. These are probably ridiculously too long, but I am going to have to probably put three branches here and then 2 more at the back. There'll be a bit of a travel distance. I might have to run this the transport tube a bit longer. Now the reason I didn't bring the transport tube earlier was plastic melts at 125 degrees. So 125 degrees means you can't get it too hot in here. However, the thermal conductivity in plastic is horrendous. It really is terribly bad. So they don't overheat too quickly. So if it goes a little bit above 125 for a while, I'll be fine. It's just long term not good. Yeah. Deconstruct all of you. Just want to deselect that. I still got to deconstruct all of these. Oh, and as for up here, you know, you all got to go. Oh, what are you doing, brains? Get back to work. There's so many tasks for you duplicants to be doing right now. Now, I've managed to filter out most of the gas out of here, so that can be... Oh, there's still that blob of chlorine over there. I could move the gas pump. I'm just not bothered. Oh, it's that blob of liquid that's stopping it. That liquid basically is occupying those 2 tiles. And as such, it's acting like a block. The chlorine is basically bumping up against it. So I need to actually mop that up and get rid of it. So the other liquids down here. Oh, one there. You know what? I'm going to delete that as well. And what the? There's a wart seed in there. I've been crying out for wart seeds for some of my little builds, and I managed to wall one in where I couldn't access it. Genius. Absolute genius. I will deconstruct that anyway. We'll get access to that wart seed again. And then I'll have to mop up all the liquid that falls down also. So I think I've got all the duplicants assigned out to many tasks. What I'll do is I'll just jump cut forward in time until once all this construction is complete. Oh, actually, no, there's one thing I have to do on top of that. I've got to extend the ladder system even a little bit more. I might put a higher priority on the ladder system up top. Oh, cancel that. I kind of want that ladder system to be done really quickly. Well, not really quickly, but done fast enough that I can use it to dump out the excess CO2 if I need to. I've also got to run a gas pipe the entire length, well, 3 gas pipes from the bottom of the map to the top to carry the carbon dioxide. Yeah, that's getting way too low a priority. Let's make you a 6. And if our transport network is working correctly, we should see a duplicant pop up here and hop out that tube so that they can manage it. Now, for the time being, I'm not going to extend the transport network any further up. This is only just to get the ladder system up this far. Ah, and there they are. It's nice to see them actually use it, but they'll only do 2 or 3 tiles and then they'll run back down again. And I should really put in a fire pole. So I'll cut this out here and I'll jump back in when we're all done. Okay, I've decided to add it in a little side project. I'm going to fill in this area here and actually dump it into my oil biome. I figure if I put in three Slickster ranches here, and then I can put in a fourth and a fifth here. So all five of them will be right down here, right across from the transport tube network. It should make things a little bit simpler. I just want to brick this all in so that when I dig in from this side, I'm not actually letting in any oxygen or any nasty gases, stuff like that. So my dupes have just about hit the top here. This is going to tap into some water, but we do have that pool at the bottom, so we don't really care. It'll collect any water that falls down. And is that? Yes, that is regolith. We are right close to space. Ooh, second natural gas geyser. I haven't actually tapped into those yet. I don't need them, so I haven't. Ooh, let's see where that water goes. Okay, a little bit of panning here. Apologies to those people who get a bit nauseous. It doesn't seem to have hit anything. Straight down. Oh, look at that. Straight down right into the water tank. No problems, no muss, no fuss. And there's a little morb hanging around. Actually, the oxygen pressure in here should be so high. Yeah, it's all 3 kilos. The morb can't actually give off any polluted oxygen. That's one of the joys of, well, deodorizing slime. Morbs, anything like that you encounter, you don't have to care. How close are we to, is that vacuum there? Actually, I can dig across here and put out the pipes if needs be, though that's... Oh, my natural gas geyser is actually venting into space. It's not like I care too much about them anyway. Now, natural gas geysers are quite good. They average about, if you capture all the natural gas they give off, you could run them, what was it I worked it out about 1.6 kilowatts of power they would generate on average if you ran them constantly between dormancy and activity periods, as in they'll spit out more gas during their activity period. But if you evened out the flow across the entire period, it's about 1.6 kilowatts, or yeah, 1.6 kilowatts on average for a single natural gas geyser of average capacity. You could get weaker ones, you could get stronger ones. So 1.6 kilowatts of power for tapping into one of those, and all you really need is a couple of gas pumps. Even one gas pump would do it for you. It's quite good. The only thing you have to do is arrange to store the gas in between. It's just the way I've been playing so far. I don't really need it, and I've kind of been jumping from one emergency to the next, or one project to the next. Let's go back to the oil biome. So you can see here, I've just walled this in. So now all I have to do is, well, just build from the inside. We'll wall you in the top. Assuming I've got enough space, that is. Deconstruct those. Nope, that would be silly to do that. The dupes will trap themselves in there. They'll always find a way. Okay, I'll wall that in like that. Now, simplest thing to do here is we're just going to put an incubator at the front. Yeah, those guys left me there, so about here. I started building one of these and then I cancelled when I got the idea to put in 5 right beside each other. So I have 3 incubators right here, then we'll just have the doorway that leads in. Pneumatic doors, we'll go with gold. Now gold will melt, well not melt, it will overheat above 125, so I cannot let the pressure in here get above 125. I could make the doors out of steel, I don't want to. It is a bit of a waste to use steel for this, so I'd rather not. There, and we can deconstruct all of you suckers. Oh, and I'm going to have to replace all of those. I should have left those scaffolds in, shouldn't I? Okay, with that done, we need a room that is 4 by 25, I think it was. Yeah, so I needed to go to there. And I should have placed a brick down first, shouldn't I? Is it about there? Yep, perfect. So that is going to be where the end of it is. Put in doors. Actually, now that I think about it, we don't really care too much about airflow down here. I'll just use bricks. And I'll get 2 up and running to start. And we'll see where we go from there. Oh, yeah. Grooming station. Now, we don't need feeders, so grooming station and a critter drop-off? I think that's pretty much all we need down here. Yeah, I think that's it. That means I can make these much smaller, which means much less room for the slicksters to move, which means, well, it'll be quicker to groom them. Now we just got to wall these suckers in. Now they can jump 2 tiles. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Someone did testing on these, and I think if you corral them in too small a space, they don't actually produce as much petroleum. So you know what? I'll give them 8 tiles. Yeah, 8 tiles is plenty. And I'm going to need to move that ladder, aren't I? Actually, I'll probably put in a ladder along the back of the system just so that they can go from top to bottom if needs be. It's giving them more pathing options, which is usually bad for performance, but I do actually want them to have some pathing options. Normally for when I mess things up and delete something I shouldn't have. Not that I'd ever do that. Repeatedly. Actually, what am I doing? I don't need that done yet. None of this is important. I just need to get these Slickster farms up and running. And I'm also going to need power for these. I'm going to need power for 5 incubators. Ouch, that is a lot of incubators now I think about it. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, no, 1 power wire should do it. And last I checked, we had 3 plug sockets available. Okay, buildings. All of you can go. So you can run the power down here, or even from to the roof at this point. Give me a power overlay. Let's see. Okay, we'll take... Oh, actually, I can delete a bunch of junk that's down here. I don't need half of this anymore. We can get rid of all of you. You can go, and you can go. Now, the reason I made this entire place a vacuum is the water in here is only get warmer and warmer and warmer, and it'll radiate out the top, which is why I've put this in an insulated box. Now, the reason it's going to keep getting warmer is not so much this. That's coming from the water sieve, is it? Oh no, that's coming from one of the steam vents, which is why it's 60 degrees, and that's only going to get warmer as the efficiency of that increases. Building's gone, gone, gone. Oh yes, we came here for a power wire. You'll do. Actually, let's build this in reverse. It's usually simpler. We'll go down here. Yeah. Now this will just be dedicated towards running all the incubators. Now, what way did the incubators go there? And actually, yeah, straight down. And that should get all 5 of them. And we're going to immediately set you suckers to incubating. Do we have any? We don't have larva eggs, but we'll go with molten larvae for the moment. And we got 1 over there. I'm probably going to have to wrangle some of these critters, or well, put down traps. You. Hopefully that'll at least get us started. Now, how is our space section looking? Ooh, pretty close. We'll just dig across here, and then I can start putting in pipes. Ooh, I should put in a water lock. Damn it, now that I think about it, I need a water lock here to prevent the gases escaping. I don't want gas leaking at the top of the map. Let me think about this for a second. Okay, so I had a look around for a bit, and I noticed that this building is over here, the big, I can't remember what they call this building again. But the giant building that you're stuck with every time is actually over here. So I was just zooming out thinking, which side do I want to go out on? I figured this side's big enough to put in my whole rocketry section. I can stick in 6 rockets this side, and this leaves me the far side over here for solar. Solar will be bigger, but I won't be going over there as much. I'll be spending, my duplicants will be spending most of the time going back towards, well, more time on the rocketry section. Solar is just a once off and it's done. Rocketry is a lot of building down and tearing up. So I want to have this take a left here instead, and I'm going to use that to actually, I'm going to use this for my rocketry area. So this is probably the smartest way to put out the liquid lock. As well as that, if I do go that way, I'm going to be straight into vacuum. I'll have to start putting in backing plates and stuff. I think this will just be simpler. But I'll put that as a priority 6. Oh no, do I still have all my build commands at level 6? Eek. That was... Yeah, I shouldn't be doing that. I should have my build commands at level 5. Back down to the oil biome. How's this going? We'll change you all. You all level 5s? Oh. Power can go back to level 5. Now, as for these rooms, they're basically copy-pasted from up in the main base. They're 96 tiles in size. That's why I've got that little block there to drag them down to 96. Otherwise, they're not actually a room if I leave it 1 tile bigger. It's the maximum size stable. I'm going to stick 7 Slicksters in these. They're basically going to take over from my hatches. In fact, I'm going to, once I start these up, I'll probably decommission my first hatch farm, or one of my hatch farms, just so that the beasties will have time to actually maintain this area. I'm also going to want to copy and paste the settings from this. Yeah. That should be all the Slickster variants. Well, both the Slickster variants. Where are we? Molten larvae, molten Slickster, and regular Slickster. I kind of want to get around to having nothing but regular Slicksters after a while, so I'm going to try and breed for them, but that will take a little time. So in the meantime, I'm going to be stuck with these suckers. No, that's a fish trap. Okay, that should work. Now, where am I missing the power cable from that one? Actually, yeah, continuous for you. You. No, then I'm gonna have to wait till have another egg drops. Do you want to be really nice now? Let me check the printables. Now, it'd be really nice if I got some printables that would help me out here. I'll take the Joya seeds, why not? Okay, I think I'll just finish off the last of these commands and then I think we'll just jump ahead. There's no point seeing the rest of this. Oh, buggery. Actually, I can't make those that way, can I? No, I cannot. I need to make some of these out of mesh tiles, otherwise the whatchamacallit, the Slickster oil is not going to fall. Actually, wait, no, there'll be no Slicksters here. What am I thinking of? The Slicksters will all be corralled in here. They'll be dropping through there. I could have made all of these out of regular tiles if I wanted to, but you know what? I've already committed to the standard. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. It's just sometimes you'll end up with liquids catching on things. Ah, I'm going to make that mistake and keep making it if I'm not careful. And there we go. So I'll just jump ahead until most of this construction project is complete. Oops, that's why I'm not getting power through to my incubators. I forgot to actually finish that off. Yeah, that's where I used to have the fans and I was deconstructing them. Actually, while I'm in here, I can take out all of this. Don't need it anymore. That is a complete vacuum. Yes, it is. And there's nothing in the pipes. Nothing. Perfect. Okay, very shortly we'll be finished with this little construction project and we can start just ranching Slicksters like crazy. Unfortunately, I'm going to have a very small population to start, so it's going to take a while to get up to levels that will be useful, or levels that will start eating into the carbon dioxide problems I've got. So another thing I'm going to have to start doing is, well, building a pipe system up to space. I'm going to have to build an overflow system for these gas pipes over here, and this is going to be a bit messy. Very, very, very messy. Actually, we'll get time to do some cleaning up. The reason being I have to get an overflow in these. For example, I could take an overflow off here, and then a backlog will be sent up this way, and I can send that off to space. But this one here, I need to get an overflow. Maybe actually there would do for an overflow for that one. This third one, where's the third one going? You know what? That's really. I could put on a gas bridge here and pop it up that direction. Actually, this mightn't be as bad as I thought. Okay, but I'm gonna get out of that overlay before it crashes the game. Anyway, I'll be back in a wee bit when I've finished off the Slickster ranches and we're ready to go. I forgot about this little sucker over here. He's not getting away from me. Well, no. You'll be back, probably. Actually, now that I've looked around, I think there's a few more Slicksters around the place that I just haven't seen. Those two Slicksters are three Slicksters are already in there, and I have what 5 still left on the map somewhere. One over there, so I'm gonna have a look around for the other 4 and see if I can't add them to our stockpile. And there we are. We've got all our Slickster stables up and running. No Slicksters to put in them yet, but the whole infrastructure is in place. Uh, Also, I do have to select eggs for all of these. Only one of them selected because I've never got a chance to actually put eggs in all of them yet. And they managed to put all 4 of them in this one place. Now, I seem to have one other critter left out here somewhere, but I haven't been able to find them. They'll drop an egg at some point. I'll grab that one as well. But that's that all done basically. Except for I need to decommission one of these stables. I think I'm going to decommission this one. It's the one right beside the printing pod. All my duplicates hang around my printing pod when they're on break because, well, because now I can deconstruct those. I'm not actually even going to kill the hatches. They can die in their own time. There's no rush there. Nope. Just deconstruct. Yeah, we'll get rid of a lot of this stuff. They'll eventually run out of food since I've stopped restocking them. Or my duplicates will take it to bring to other places. Though I might want to stop them from eating that copper ore. Is that copper ore? Ooh, you know what? I might want to do a few low-level sweep commands in here. Let's grab some storage bins. Yeah, well, I'll sweep up all that gunk that's around here. In fact, I should probably sweep up my whole base. I haven't done any sweeping at all, really. Well, I dropped all this stuff down here, but I haven't actually done any sweeping around the rest of the base. I'm sure that's annoying some people out there, my lack of sweeping. But it just doesn't really help too much, as in the negative decor I get from it is so minuscule, I don't really care too much. Now, let's stick in a few statues down here, because my duplicants are going to hang around here on their lunch break. Might as well make it a happy place for them. As well as that, I'm going to replace the floors up here in the bathroom with diamond tiles. And that way the actual decor bonus can travel through the floor and give them a nice bonus while they're in there. And after that, we're going to go up to space. I think I've hotkeyed that one. Yes, no. There we are. Okay, we're going to put some oil in here, and then I'm going to forget about it until it flows down. Maybe I should put water in here. That might be a sin. Actually, you know what? No. Now it's 369. So I need to come back here in about a cycle and make sure that that's still good. Actually, I should probably make sure that ladder fire pole is done correctly. Yeah, close enough. I'm also going to have to start digging out and putting in transport tube access here. My duplicants can get a fair chunk of the way up there, but they're still going to have to use a lot of laddering. And I have to put in the automation for these slicksters. I just realized that when I was looking back at the other one. So a quick bit of automation. It's the same as before, but we're only hooking up to one incubator now, which makes this even simpler. So one of these critter sensors, no, gold. I can't remember if these things overheat or not, but I'm not willing to take the chance just yet. So nut gate can be iron, automation wire. And that's literally it. And then I repeat this for the other 5. We're going to set the critter sensor to 6. That means once we hit 7 slicksters, it will turn off the incubator. And since these incubators are right beside the hatcheries, this should keep them all local to each other and should keep everything sane. And what's the power wire looking like? 1.2 kilowatts for 5 incubators. Perfect. Very simple system. I'll just leave this here for now and I'll come back to it in a bit. That's all 5 of those queued up. That'll give us our automation in place, and well, let's face it, all of them are going to be on. There's no slicksters in any of these. It's going to be how many cycles? It's going to be a long amount of cycles before these actually start becoming productive for me. Pretty much every egg that drops is going to be going to an incubator. I'm going to have 5 eggs running at a time. Yeah, that's probably not going to help my carbon dioxide levels either. So next up is going to be building some gas pipes, an awful lot of gas pipes going all the way up into space. Now, thankfully, I'm not maxed out on my carbon dioxide production, as in they're not running flat out. I'm not burning an enormous amount of petroleum all the time. A fair chunk of the time, but not all the time. Let's actually check the batteries here. Yeah, so I set it to 50, turn off at 65. As you can see there, they're sitting there doing nothing for quite some time. So we're not actually maxing out on the printables. We're not maxing out on the carbon dioxide production. You know what? We'll take a directlet. Why not? They'll make good barbecue. Now, I need to sort this out so I actually have overflow potential. For that, we're going to need 3 pipes going up to space. You can be 1. We'll just overflow you here and make you an igneous rock. No need to use insulation for these pipes. The carbon dioxide's coming out cold, so who cares? And we'll just run you straight up there. We'll extend you in a wee bit. Now, actually, maybe that was too close to there. Leave ventilation on. Actually, yes, that was... No, we can work this. We can work this. Second gas pipe. We're going to take you as an overflow out of here. See, this white point is the overflow. If the gas can't get through, it'll push out the side. So it'll keep going straight across if it can. If it can't go straight across, then that means the oil biome is full. And we'll put that over there. And we'll put you through the fire pole all the way up. So I'm basically lining them up with the infrastructure that's already there. So this first one is going to go pass through the ladder all the way to the top. This one's going to pass through... Ooh, actually, I made that in a bad position, didn't I? I need to put that there. This one's going to pass through the actual fire pole all the way to the top. And the third one is going to pass through the transport tube all the way up. Now, I know these reverse at some point, but this is the general gist. I'm going to have the 3 gas pipes from my 3 main forms of transportation all the way to the top of the map, just so I know there's already dug out space for them ready to go. Now, this last one looks like it's a little bit trickier. Comes across here. I suppose I could put... I could redirect it down here and put an overflow. Actually, bring it straight down here. No, I still can't get it out that way. Ah. How about if I pop it across here and straight up? That would actually work. But to do that right, I'd need to put in this gas bridge, say there. Ah, gas pipe, give me gas pipe. So I deconstruct that pipe, then I bring out a pipe here, that will be the overflow. It doesn't matter if the overflow comes out the back, the right, it doesn't matter. It can come out of any of the sides. So I'm going to bring the overflow down here. Actually, zoom in a bit. I'm going to bring the overflow down here, and then I'm going to have it hop across. And what's going on? Come on, deconstruct that. Oops. You've got all the time in the world. Then I'm going to bring that across there. Actually, yeah, there we go. So that can go across there. That gas pipe overflows in here. We bring it up there. And then I simply bring that straight up. And now we have all three overflows, carbon dioxide overflows, ready to get left off into space. Now, which one's the most compacted at the moment? Actually, they're all pretty terrible. Oh yeah, I'll probably just run all three simultaneously. This is going to be just a large-scale building project. It'll probably take a couple of cycles. And now that I think of a couple of cycles, how's this doing up here? Damn it. Okay, I need one more load of crude oil. In fact, I am going to watch this off camera, and I'm going to make sure this gets done because I don't want to have an overflow again. Or again. And it's done. See, I totally didn't mess that one up that time. So long as I stare at it intently, I'll eventually get it right. Now, our dupes are all in Atmos suits, so we don't have to care about gases or anything like that. Some of this slime will off gas. I don't care if it's lost to space. Now, I want to go over here, and I'm going to probably dump the gas somewhere in here. In fact, I'm probably going to want to... regular tile should be fine. Give myself a little bit of space to work with and build in something like that. Oh. Now I think about it, that's why I wanted to make insulated tiles, because the regolith up there is exceedingly hot. Yes, that's why I wanted to do that. In fact, we'll make all of you out of insulated tiles. Boom, problem solved. Actually, I might want to put in a little bit of a scaffold for that as well. Okay, and then the plan is to run up the gas pipes here. I'll probably take a right here and just dump all the excess gas out there. And this will solve all our excess CO2 problems. Whew. Right, well, that's going to be a pretty long build project because it's going to be a lot of gas pipe. I'm going to have to lay 3 layers of them. Oh, we got our first actual molten larvae egg. Nice. And how's our tameness looking on these? Tamed already. Oh, tiny baby. Yeah, they're not going to make much of a dent in that. I also want to do another couple of changes. The problem is I'm pumping in cold carbon dioxide and it's getting a bit chilly in here. These slicksters can only survive down to something like -75 degrees. Livable range 75 degrees, so it's getting in as low as 72 and stuff in places. I'm going to send the CO2 as far away from them as possible because it is a bit chilly. I'm going to put it to the opposite side of the oil biome. So for example, this stuff here, you are going all the way over here. Oop. Yeah, maybe not quite that way. It's going to go all the way over to the far side. That way it has plenty of time to dissipate that chill before it gets back. It'll also help chill down the oil biome. It's pretty hot over here. It's about 100 and something degrees. And where's the last one? You can actually stay up there. I think has that killed? I think that's killed all the sour gas. It's literally converted all the sour gas to carbon dioxide. That is one way to get rid of a problem. Actually, if you've already gotten rid of all the sour gas, you can join in with the boys over here. Actually, there's some chlorine up there. You can go take care of that. Not essential to get rid of these annoying gases, but I just don't like having them there. And isn't the whole point of the game to have a bit of fun while you're doing it? And if it's more fun for you to actually kill off all the things that annoy you, why not? That's pretty much that all taken care of, though. I do want to deconstruct this now. It is definitely getting way too chilly in this part of the map, even with all my insulation. Who knows, maybe I'll have to let some of the heat of this out. God, I hope not. I could also put in some... Where's that furniture, actually? There is actually heaters you can put in. What's it under? Utilities? Yes. You can put in these space heaters. I think they go up as high as 75 degrees. So until I get this all sorted, I'm going to stick a space heater in here just in case these molten slicksters get a little bit too chilly. Losing even one of them at this point, considering how little critters I have to work with, would be kind of annoying. So I'm going to stick it in as a temporary measure until I get the heat sorted in here. Okay, I'm just going to cut this out here, and I'm going to leave the video at this point because I have to run 3 lengths of gas piping the entire length of the map. And I'm also going to have to get rid of some of the stuff in my way, namely this hydrogen. Yeah, I let that hydrogen stay there for far too long. I'm going to have to back that up. I'll probably end up making another tank back here, and I'll end up dumping all the hydrogen into that tank. I'll do all that off screen. It's just a boring building and getting everything up and running. Anyway, let's just have a quick check on what we've got left to do. Actually, now that I think about it. So my game did crash there on cycle 372, but I recovered it, and I just finished tidying up what we were all discussing. Now, a couple of things I left out is I hadn't set the critter sensors here to 6. I'd left those on 0, so it had actually left that incubator off. But I've set all the critter sensors in here to 6, so we can hold up to 7 critters in here. You put it one below what you want. They're all going into knot gates hooked up to the incubators, and as you can see, those incubators are happily chugging away. The only thing I have left to do is select an egg for this last one. I don't have any more egg drops just yet to put in here, but once it happens, I'll do that. Next up was space, wasn't it? Do I have that hotkeyed? No, I do not have space hotkeyed. Sorry about this jumping around. In space, I actually put these pipes in through here and stuck in a few high pressure vents. So these gas pipes here are acting as my overflow for the oil biome, and just in time. Actually, just a little bit late. The oil biome actually clogged up just as I was finishing those, but now the overflow is kicked in. So if we actually go all the way back down here, you'll see the gas is going down if it can, but if it doesn't, it hangs a left and goes straight up towards the space biome where I'm dumping it all. Now that'll become less and less of a problem as I get more and more slicksters online. And once I have enough of them, I should actually no, I'll never have enough slicksters to take care of all the CO2 I'm producing, not unless I went absolutely crazy. I think I figured out what was going on over here, but I'm only going to say think because the only difference I had between this and the previous design is I had a ladder segment in here. Oh, that's sour gas. Why is there sour gas in there? Actually, I'm going to have to do more thinking on that one. But what I found in here was a tile of igneous rock that was 19 kilos in size. And there's no way igneous rock should make a tile of 19 kilos. That's not possible. Just shouldn't happen. So I think what was happening here was for some reason having a ladder tile behind it was causing it to turn into an igneous rock tile instead of turning into debris like that. So I was actually ending up with a tiny little tile of debris here, and that's what was messing up the system. So I think now that the ladder segment is gone, that problem should be taken care of. Though I am going to let this run. It'll be a couple hundred cycles. I want to make sure there's no other kinks involved in this system, and I know why the sour gas got in there. Yeah, I have seen this before. I had this set to 30 seconds, and what happened was during the cycle out period, there was no heat there for an extra 10 seconds, and because there was no heat there, extra crude oil built up in the system, and when that all converted, it put extra pressure on the tiles around here, which meant some of it leaked through. That leaked through oil then turned into sour gas after it touched the boiling hot magma that was in here. I'm going to have to vacuum that out. Actually, what's the pressure temperature in here? Yeah, 13 something. Is there any in there? You know what? I'm going to build diagging in there and destroy that sour gas. I've learned my lesson. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to vacuum that out by removing the drill, and I'll have to do it in between sessions. That's going to be... Yeah, maybe I'll record that and throw that into the next video. But now that this is up and running, we basically hit sustainable food supply. Assuming I don't mess up the petroleum boiler, we'll have enough petroleum going through to provide us with enough CO2 to keep these going forever. Even when we switch over to oil wells providing us all our crude oil, the amount of carbon dioxide we'll get out of burning it all will give us perfect sustainability in terms of food. Now this is our first perfectly sustainable food source, and as well as that, we're piping in the food, so it's even less labor intensive than the stone hatches were, making it far superior. And the extra petroleum and, well, preferably crude oil, I'm going to change them over to slicksters when I get a chance. I'm sure I'll get a slickster egg to drop at some point. The chances are at least 2%. Oh, 9%. Yeah, I'll get over to slicksters in a while. After that, so that's power sorted and that's sustainable food sorted. We've got this cool steam vents tap, so our water supply is going to be absolutely peachy. Our polluted water tank is looking very good because we keep dumping in the water from the power plant. So effectively we have sustainable oxygen, sustainable food, and sustainable power forever. Now there's a few tidy up bits I've got to do to make sure nothing overflows and backs up, that kind of thing. So we're technically there, but it's not automation free yet. I still got to keep an eye on things. It's not on, I can't just take my hands off and let it keep running forever at the moment. But we're close, a lot closer than we were even just a few episodes ago. So next up, what are we going to do? Yeah, next up is going to be, well, first off, it's going to be get that sour gas out of the petroleum boiler. That should not be in there, and that's going to cause my robo miner to heat up. Yeah, it's already at 275. The only thing keeping that chill is the crude oil here, which has already gone to 175. Yeah, I'm going to have to make some changes there. So I'll get the sour gas out of there, and assuming that ladder segment was what was causing the problem, we shouldn't have any further problems from this boiler. After that, we're going to have to do the oil reservoirs. I'm going to have to tap into them so that we have a renewable source of crude oil for the system. We've already got the water to run them indefinitely, so that's pretty much the last leg of sustainability finished. Once we've got those two done, depending on some of the comments, if you people want to see me, well, maybe tap into a few more vents or something like that. For example, I think someone was talking about, no, it was infectious polluted oxygen, this infectious polluted oxygen vent. I don't really see a point in accessing this. See, it has 548 grams, which could theoretically feed 5 duplicants, but it's only active for that period of time, and it also has a dormancy phase. It works out roughly about 2 duplicants worth of oxygen. I mean, 2 duplicants worth of oxygen, and I'm going to have to disinfect it, cool it down, use deodorizers, which require manual duplicant labor. This over here took me, what, half a video? And once I was done, I had enough oxygen. I think it's 1.25 kilos of water that comes out of this per second on average, which is enough oxygen for about 10 duplicants. So I can get 10 duplicants worth of oxygen out of this, as opposed to putting in more time, effort, and manual duplicant labor afterwards to get enough oxygen for 2 duplicants out of the infectious polluted oxygen vent. I consider it a real late game choice, and usually by the time it's actually worth getting, or you'd actually consider it a priority enough to override anything else you need to do sooner, it's just cost benefit wise, it's not even worth it. And by the time it is, you have everything else completed, you don't need it anymore. It's a bit like the hydrogen vents as well. Same thing. Hydrogen vents are just not worth the effort either. I'd put the leaky oil fissure almost in the same category. I mean, tapping into it's not really worth it. Natural gas, yeah, that's worth it. But I'll actually tap those probably before I hit space. Not because I need them, but because I'd feel bad if I didn't. Anyway, I'll leave it there. We'll come back on Monday to vacuuming this out and tapping into the oil wells. We should be able to get both of those done in one video. Well, yeah, knowing me, probably. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this and good luck.